Today we are outside to kind of showcase some of our annual flower garden trials that we have here at the Warren County Extension Office. And earlier in the season, we visited a local greenhouse and kind of showed you how to select different annuals for your garden. And today we're going to show you kind of some things that you want to do to keep those annual flowers looking so good throughout the season until you want to get ready for some planting of some other cool season weathered crops. So just to kind of show you some of the flowers that we have today and part of our annual flower garden trials here, we have several different annual flowers, and again, those are ones that do really well after we plant, after the season or after the frost has passed our area. So one of the ones that we want to take a look at first is a petunia variety. This one, specifically the variety that we have, is known as Queen of Hearts. And you can kind of see some of the colors of our petunia here. So you can have really kind of more of a bright color, has yellow kind of in the center, and also some different bright pink around the outside. And if you look really closely at this type of petunia, it does have a heart. So that's where you get your Queen of Hearts variety. So this one is looking very, very well. And again, these were planted about the first part of May, and they're doing really, really well. So this one's Queen of Hearts. Now another type of annual flower that we have planted outside is we also have Impatiens. These are known as sun patients. So they really do like a lot more sun than probably what your sultanas do. So this one right here to my left is a white variety. It also has a little bit of pink to it, and it's known as Spreading Pink Kiss. So this one has done really well for us, has a nice mounding growth habit to it, whereas the petunia kind of trails out more like a spiller. But this one gives you really, really nice mounding habit, and it really has done really, really well in the back here behind the extension office. So that one has done really well, and again, that one's known as Spreading Pink Kiss. The other one that's right behind me is known as Salvia. You can see it's really tall, and it's given a lot of height to our raised beds that are located in the back here. This one is Saucy Red. That's the name of the cultivar, the variety that we have. You can see it produces more of the blooms kind of on a spike, and then you have your foliage there at the bottom. So this one has done really, really well. The hummingbirds really like this one because of the red tubular flowers that are on the salvia, but this one has also been a great one here that's planted behind our extension office. Now, whenever we planted these, it was a little bit hard because we had to make sure that we watered and to make sure that we took care of it. So when you're watering, we want to encourage that you do deep, infrequent watering. And so the reason why we stress deep and infrequent watering is so that you can encourage a deep root system for your actual root system to go in and pull some of the moisture out of the ground. So that way you've got a nice looking annual throughout the growing season. So when you water, you want to try to water in the morning if you can at all possible. Usually between the hours of 6 a.m. and 10 a.m. are usually the best time to perform those routines. So if you've got a drip irrigation system or even a soaker hose system, that would be great, and also helps target that water stream directly at the root so that way it can take it up and supplement it to the plant. Now, when you're watering, you might want to take a look at some mulching as well. So mulching is really, really good for holding in soil moisture. So really we want to recommend at least 3 inches. That's really good for holding in soil moisture. It's also very attractive, and it also keeps those weeds down so that way you don't have to weed as often. And again, it's very, very attractive. So not only with mulching, you want to take a look at fertilizing. Fertilizing is one of the ones that's really, really needed by a lot of annual flowers, probably a lot more than what you think for. There's 2 types of fertilizers that are out there. There's one that's a water-soluble or a liquid fertilizer that you can actually dilute down with your water as you're watering. I know there's some different ones out there, different brands, but you would just want to make sure you use probably more of a complete fertilizer that contains some nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. But definitely utilize that according to those label directions, probably once every 2 weeks, or sometimes you can do that twice every 2 weeks. Just make sure you follow those label directions. The other one that you can put out is more of a soluble fertilizer, and basically it's like an Osmocote type fertilizer that you can incorporate into the bed, and it kind of slowly releases out to your plants. So that's really good for keeping those very, very attractive. And something else besides fertilizing that you might want to look at after you've planted your flowers is to definitely try to look at deadheading. So deadheading is something that we talk about, is actually taking off some of the spent blooms from some of your flowers. That way it encourages rebloomers to form later on in the growing season. So let's take a look back at our Queen of Hearts here that we have, the petunia variety. Some of varieties you can find that are self-cleaning, but sometimes you definitely want to go in and try to remove some of those blooms so that way it keeps it looking very, very attractive. So let's take a look at some of this area right here, and you can see we've got some nice blooming petunias here, and then we've also got some that definitely look like they need to be pulled out. So what we're going to do is kind of like just going in and gently pushing that back, and you can see some of the blooms are actually in my fingertips there. And if you would want to put that in your hand or put it in like a bucket, that way in case it is diseased or contains anything else, you can actually pull those out. These are a little bit sticky where we just had a rain the other day and because of our humidity. But that is one thing that you can do, deadheading, to keep those flowers really, really pretty throughout the season. So not only that, you may want to take a look at pinching, especially for our petunias. Pinching is something that you can actually pinch back a certain spot in your actual flower of your growth, and so that way it does keep it really bushy and it does keep it looking very, very attractive throughout the growing season. So don't be afraid at deadheading or pinching. You're not going to hurt those blooms. You're just going to keep them looking very attractive. And if you have any questions about deadheading or pinching or fertilizers, or maybe even some good mulches to use or watering advice, we can make sure to get you that information here at the Cooperative Extension Service located here on Nashville Road. Feel free to utilize us if you just want to call us on the telephone or even send information through email to myself. We'd be certainly glad to help you. And again, we're located here on Nashville Road, 3132 Nashville Road, and we'll be certainly glad to get you that information. Again, this is Kristin Hildabrand with the Warren County Cooperative Extension Service, and we want to wish you a happy gardening season.